go.
All right, I'm going to mute us.
All right, there we go. I think I'm up and running. Welcome in, everybody. Good to see you. We have a few people today. We'll do formal introductions once Nice is up and running, but yeah, we got a few people ready to talk about the latest live stream. Do I have the wrong? I do. Stream into the wrong category. All right.
All right, all right. Welcome on in, everybody. Welcome on in. All right, I'm good to go whenever else.
I'm ready.
All right. Oh man, this is I've been looking forward to this one. I've been looking forward to this one. And when I say that, I mean Xillin. I mean the stream. I mean today after stream, like, oh, this is gonna be a good episode tonight. So I am very excited. Hey, I'm getting a link posted in Discord. For those of you that don't know, we have our personal Discord, but we also have a Voices of Verra exclusive Discord that you guys can join. Link should be in the description if I remember correctly. If you need an invite, just let us know or check the pinned comment on any AOC video.
Blaze, what's up, dude? Good to see you.
Welcome on in, everybody. HD, how you doing? Samuel, what's VSS? Copium Clinic, Mr. Burns, aka Ashes of Relation. How you doing? Who's this guy? I heard he's from Oklahoma.
Oh man. Why y'all do me like that?
All right. So for those of you, well, I guess I'll just do our proper introduction. So let me turn the music down and we're gonna get into this chat. We're gonna get into this. Here, let's do this. Yes, AOC stream got you hyped again. Let's go. Yes, it was indeed a banger. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So welcome to another episode of the Voices of Verra, episode 48 with myself, Nice Gaming, no one else, this very special guest, Xillin, and another special guest, DA of Envious, or how he will be known today, NDA. Or maybe we just dropped the N. You know, he used to be NDA, and we dropped the N. He's just DA now. That's what he's going by starting today.
There's no more NDA, baby.
No more NDA. So obviously, like I said, and like I always say, we got a very special episode. This will be our first time having Xillin on. And of course, we've had DA from Envious on before on one of our guild showcases. Envious, you guys should know if you're in the AOC scene or if you're looking for a guild, you guys should know about the Envious guild, the most hardcore PvP guild that we have pre-launch. How you doing, Sawman? Welcome on in. Welcome on in, Taken. So we have a lot to obviously go over, especially with Xillin being a first-time guest. NDA. I keep saying NDA because I'm reading it on screen. Anyways, I just threw this together right before stream. I was just telling the guys like, I'm gonna make that. I'm gonna make drop the N out of NDA, and that's gonna be his name for today. But anyways, so if you guys aren't aware, PI participated in the Node stream that you see here in the background. Excuse me, the Node War stream that you see here in the background. And he was a part of it. And yeah, he's going to be able to provide some insight because for those of you that don't know, verbal NDA was lifted. So he's able to talk about all of his experiences in Alpha 2. Before I get into that and before we pass it to Xillin, Else, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. It's a new day. Everything's a little bit better than yesterday, but yeah, I'm ready for this. I'm ready for this live stream, man. We got a lot to talk about.
So much to discuss. No spoilers because we're going to go over how we felt about the stream and everything like that. But yeah, so what I'm going to do is start this off with a little story, and then I want to pass it to Xillin. So a fun little story before Else and I started. I think after me and Else was doing Ashes of Creation content for a while, I think we probably had just a couple of videos under our belt. We were really getting into Ashes of Creation, but was like, we want to do content for it now. Like, I feel like I can talk about this. I'm really passionate about it. I know the game's not out yet, but I'm passionate about it. Let's talk about it. Let's get our takes out there. Especially at the time, we felt like there wasn't too many hardcore PvP or too much PvP content creators in the space, if that makes sense. Not people that did PvP, but like, known for PvP, I guess I should word that as. And that's what I wanted us to do. And we started doing it. And then we was like, we should do a weekly live stream. No, first I think we were like monthly. We were like weekly. But anyways, we were coming up with names. And I actually have a screen recording saved. I should have probably had that ready to play for you guys today. I have a screen recording of the day this happened. And it's like a 2-minute screen recording I keep in my phone. But it was kind of funny because in this screen recording, you can see me DMing Is There No One Else? And I'm like, dude, we need to think of names. And we're just bouncing names off of each other. Some of them good, some of them corny because we're both dads. So there was just like a bunch of like bad jokes, bad puns, fun titles, funny titles.
We were hitting the right wheelhouse of people that watch our stuff. So that's all I'm going to say. We were hitting it pretty well.
And anyways, I was like, you know what? People love alliteration when it comes to titles. So I was like, we need to have something that repeats. I was like, okay, what's the name of the world? It's Verra. And so I came up with Voices of Verra. I was like, because, it's us and we're talking to other people. It's the Voices of Verra. I thought I was so cool. I thought I was this genius. And I type it to him and he's like, yeah, that's good. That's good. And so I literally Google Voices of Verra. I kid you not, chat. I Google Voices of Verra and the very first link, no sponsored thing. I mean, literally the very first link is a YouTube VOD from no one other than Xillin. So it turns out, and Xillin, you can talk about this here in a few. Xillin had, I think, got a couple episodes in with a stream or series with Voices of Verra as well. And I was like, there's no way. And even more, I guess, ironic is that I was just DMing Xillin, I would say a couple days before that. Me and him had chatted for the first time. And so I was like, oh, and I messaged it to Else. I sent him the screenshot. I was like, dude, there's no way. There's no way. And then so I just reached out to Xillin. I was like, dude, so you're not going to believe this. This is going to be hard to believe, but you think alike. And then he's like, oh, yeah, we don't use it anymore. You can take it, blah, blah, blah. And so that's where that's a little Voices of Verra backstory and lore for you guys that I don't know if we ever talked about on stream. So
yeah, we stole the title from Xillin, fair and square.
Yes,
Square.
And he's here to take it back today.
Yeah.
But so, and before I pass it to Xillin, I just want to give a big shout out to Xillin. If you guys are in Ashes of Creation space, if you consume Ashes of Creation content, highly recommend Xillin's channel, his content. And without further ado, let's pass it to Xillin. I'll let you give your introduction, history, what you like to do. Literally anywhere you want to go with it, the floor is yours.
All right. So my name is Xillin. I used to be relevant in the Ashes of Creation content creator space. Back towards the Alpha 1 time, and I've made videos between now and then, but I'm definitely in the I'll start ramping it up when I can actually play the game area. Like I've made enough content for a game that doesn't exist, and I'm kind of done with that to some degree. But if you're into Ashes of Creation and speculation videos and build guides and tutorials and walkthroughs and that sort of thing, that's what I'm going to be doing here real soon. And I'm Xillin on both YouTube and Twitch. So yeah, come find me and we'll talk about this game. Xillin's commentary is best in slot. I like it. I did just add a little context of the Voices of Verra thing. There was a creator during Alpha 1 known as Tin Man, and he kind of came out of nowhere. No one had really he wasn't making videos before Alpha 1, and he started live streaming Alpha 1, and he caught fire because he calls himself a real life bard. He has a triple minor in singing, dancing, and acting. So he's a pure entertainer, and like you'd think he was on cocaine or something. Like he is just high energy all the time, insane amounts of energy. And he and I just got along really well. And so we created this podcast, and our thought process was there's a bunch of podcasts where it's just a bunch of dudes talking. Or chicks, whatever, just people talking, and we're like, let's do something that's more interactive, that has more to it. So it was like a sketch comedy show. We had like cold opens, and he was doing like man on the street stuff where he was like just showing up, and he was from Tennessee. That's where Tin Man came from, and he'd show up in downtown Nashville and just be asking drunk chicks about Ashes of Creation, getting their reaction. Yes,
I love the sound of that.
It was super. We called it Channel 10 News, the Tin Man. And I mean, it was really fun. However, he had some real life stuff dealing with the health of his dad and stuff, and so we ended up canceling that project. And he retired from content creation entirely. He doesn't do that anymore. He makes games now, actually.
Oh wow,
good for him.
Not video games, not video games, card games. He's into Magic the Gathering, that style of.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's got a whole company, and they've got a bunch of money donated to them, and they're making a game now. And so anyway, so he retired. So when Nice hit me up, I was like, I ain't doing nothing with it. So y'all have at it, and then y'all taking it and run with it and turned it into something that I wish that he and I had been able to do. So congrats to you two you guys are killing it with this.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I like that concept. Just asking random people on stream. You know what? Alpha 2 launch party in Vegas. We're gonna all link up and we're gonna go to random drunk chicks on the street and be like, "Hey, let me talk to you about Ashes of Creation." That's gonna be fun.
Just get a convert on the spot.
Yes. And before we dive into all things that was the exciting Node stream today, I want to pass this to DA of the Envious Guild. DA, tell us about you for everyone that missed the episode where we featured you.
Tell us about myself. Just to give a heads up, I'm DA. I'm the leader of Envious. I run a guild for Ashes of Creation. We have over 300 members ready to go for Alpha 2, and we are excited to jump into this. We had about, I want to say, 10 members total in the PI testing. That really got a chance to kind of get their hands on and play the different classes, and we're really excited for the rest of everybody else to get their hands on it. You know, one of the things that you kind of come into these testings is limited number of just like different feedback, and there's only so much feedback a smaller group of people can give on different from different takes. And so like I'm really excited for the rest of Alpha 1 players and eventually Alpha 2 to get their hands on it. I had a blast. I think that the what they have as far as a part of the node war is definitely a step in the right direction of what we're looking for. Just to kind of preface this, because I know I had a bit of questions today about like an actual siege, but the way the node war system works is it's multiple phases. So phase 1, 2, 3, and 4, and within those phases you have different objective based open world events that you have to attend to win that phase and push on to the next one. And so what you saw here today in the live stream was just one of the events in that first phase. But Intrepid is cooking, ladies and gentlemen, and boy, do they have some stuff, on the stove for us.
Lovely. I think anyone that was down on their copium refill or having their doubts, like, oh, it's gonna be a long time until Alpha 2 launch, and like, I don't know if things are ready. I think this stream and everything that you just said and that fellow PI said really reignited that spark in the community if someone's spark was out. So that's really good.
You know what's weird? It didn't.
Oh,
I,
take on
so,
away.
so,
Take on
so,
away.
so,
Oh my
so
goodness.
let me be clear here. What they showed was awesome. I'm not in no way am I trying to downplay what they showed. So here's a little dirty little secret that I haven't told too many people. I have not watched.
Zillin. Let me pause.
What?
Your mic is getting a little bit of static. A
A
little
little
bit
bit
of
of
static.
static. Oh, here,
Yeah.
let me do this. Yeah,
Perfect.
I'll turn that off. So I have not watched the Fighter live stream nor the Midnight Magic live stream, and those are the only two that I've missed in 6 years, probably. I think.
Oh, wow.
And I'm probably going to either main a fighter tank or a tank fighter. So I should have been during the fighter live stream. I should have been sitting at my computer with snacks in one hand and a 3-inch erection in the other, like, like ready. And instead, I was like, I just don't care, and I turned it off, and I went on about my life. And then the Midnight Magic one, I didn't even get all the way into it to the point where they were actually showing the thing, and I turned it off. And then this one, I watched the entire thing because I can't ignore it forever. But I've been trying to think like what's going on here because like I'm interested in the game. I'm gonna be there on launch day. Like I'm ready. But I think that I have reached wake me up when I can log in mode.
Sure.
Like I don't care anymore. Like just let me into the game. That's where I'm ready to be. And so I've been today I made the analogy. It's kind of like porn. When I was 16, watching other people do it was awesome. But at a certain point, you want to touch the movies yourself,
Yeah.
So that's where I am now. I'm just like, it's great. What you showed was awesome. The gameplay looks awesome. The combat looks great. I like what you're doing. I just don't care, man. Like, wake me up when I can log in.
Oh, wow. Okay, where do we start? LC first.
All I gotta say is, did you hear this guy brag about 3 inches? Like, do you know who you're talking to over here? Just bragging about 3 inches like that? No, I totally get that perspective because I'm also I haven't been watching every live stream for 6 years, so I'm not at that burnout stage yet. But at the same point, it's like there's only so much you can get excited for a game to where eventually you're just like, okay, yeah, of course I'm excited. I don't care what you show me. I've reached the top level. Let me play. Okay, cool. Let me play. And I totally get that perspective, and it's right around the corner. Hopefully,
yeah, we're so close. I think that's adding to my like not care. It's just like we're so close. Just get there and let me log in and play, and then everything.
Zillin's like at the stop teasing me and just let me know when you're ready to do it.
Is this gonna happen? Is this gonna happen? Like,
yeah, somebody posted in the live stream chat today that Intrepid is basically edging us at this point, and that's pretty much how I feel about this.
All right, so demonetized.
Anyways,
wow. So I love that take. I actually love that take. I'm obviously not there. I'm with elsewhere. I haven't been tracking this game for 7 or 6 years, so I'm not at that burnout phase. And I totally understand burnout or taking a step away from things like some people have done or need to do. So I totally get that. You didn't see the fighter showcase of Xillin.
It is so good.
I know. I've seen like some highlights and some recaps, but I didn't sit down and watch the whole thing. And I'm going to. I think I'm actually going to stream that. I think I'm going to have a stream this title. I haven't seen this yet.
I would watch your live react to that.
It's like being like
I think I'm going to do that.
It's like being a hardcore Lord of the Rings fan and being like, guys, I never watched Helm's Deep. Like, I just didn't see it. My bad. Like man, the fighter. I'm not even saying this because I'm a fighter man. I feel like most people would agree that the fighter live stream has been the best archetype live stream so far. It's really good. So
yeah, I'm with Ellis on that. That's literally like watching, like saying you're a Lord of the Rings fan and not even seeing the Sorcerer's Stone one, like you're just not a real fan. You're just not a real fan.
Yep. So somebody said in chat that I'm a casual. Q did. So there you go. I've devolved to casual status.
Man, imagine not obsessing about this game 24/7.
Oh my god, couldn't be me, man. No,
Yeah.
So maybe we move on to grades. Like this will be an exciting thing since DA, I'm sure you also watched the live stream and you got to participate in it. Rating a 1 to 10 overall thoughts on the live stream from everybody, like a quick roundtable.
The pre-recorded part or the whole live stream as a whole?
Whatever you want to do, just freestyle it.
I would say the pre-recorded part. It was a I'd say a 7 out of 10.
Oh.
I think maybe 8 at best. One of the things that I really would have liked to seen from that is them show you guys how to the materials needed, the kind of the little bit more of that process of starting the war versus them just handing Steven everything and saying, "Here you go."
Sure.
But I understand, I understand why. There was a little couple parts that I felt like at the end of the stream it did run on a little bit too long. Post the recorded video, but yeah, I give it an 8 out of 10. It was pretty good.
Okay, let me jump in here. First off, Sneckers. Do I have a mod on YouTube that's available? Someone banned Sneckers. He gave it a 1 out of 10. No, I'm playing. 1 out of Sneckers. Sneckers, you're not gonna come in here and like put your doomium on everybody, okay? Let us have our moment of happiness, all right? 1 out of 10 is blasphemous. It's blasphemous. So DA said 7, 8 out of 8 at best. Okay. So I'm the weirdo. I think I voted on the poll and I gave it a 10, but I think I was just in the moment. I'm gonna give it a 9. I'm gonna give it a 9, even though this was probably like one of my. No, F that. I'm not gonna let y'all doomium get to me. It was a 10, okay? It was a 10. It's the best stream that we've seen. It had everything. I'm with DA. So funny thing, Talents in Discord. If you guys are on any AOC Discord, Talents is probably in there lurking with you. He made a complaint I want to say about 2 days ago in the main AOC Discord, and he was like, the fighter stream ran on for a long time, like it just went on too long. And my take was like, how do you even say that with a straight face? How does that make sense? Like, we get to see this game only one time a month, right? They're not giving us a lot of teasers except for this previous month, obviously, with the wand combos. Like, we get to see this game that we can't play once a month, and you want to rush it along. Like, I want 3 hours of gameplay to examine. That was my take. But as I watched this one, I was like, okay, I see what he means, because this one did go very long. But at the same time, I like that, Like, I get from a viewer perspective, you're like, all right, I don't want to sit here and watch this whole thing. But I think for big fans of the game, you want to see as much as you can. You want to get immersed in this world from a viewer standpoint, especially as a non-PI that can't play. Right now, you want to see as much. You want as much gameplay footage to analyze and break down. And yeah,
Go
ahead.
I would say that I think the biggest thing for me is if I was watching a live stream of two medium to high skilled groups of players or players fighting and playing it like doing different comps and routes and doing things like that, I could watch that all day. But when it's Steven clicking abilities and backtracking on the mage, when just to let you know the mage is strong and you dive and you CC and you AoE and he's playing it more passively, it's just like, get me out of here.
Yeah.
So do you guys really think Steven's bad at his own game?
Wow.
I am friends with Steven, and I don't really want to answer that question.
Oh no, because he replied to a Reddit post. He's like, "Hey, I'm just trying to play like how a new viewer would understand it. So I click the ability so it hovers on it for a second, and he says all these things. And there's a lot of people like DA's kind of alluded to that just kind of call him out, like, bro, like, nobody, pass it to somebody else."
I will say that the time that I probably got the most excited for this game, aside from just how excited we always are, right? Was when Trad took over the mage during the mage reveal, and I got to see what like real gameplay might look like. I was like, oh crap, he's like dodging things and rolling out of the way and grouping them up, and and I was like, oh, that looks like fun. But up to that point, I was always like, this can't be like the actual combat, and it's not really. So yeah, that's a funny point of view, and that's something that I realized when I was watching the live stream. Like, he's like a lot of the stuff he's intentionally going slow through it, and he said it in the past that he's highlighting skills and stuff. And from Nice and in my background, like I've done build videos on other games where I show different combinations, like slow motion, like here's how you do this combination, and then I go into the game and then do that. And so it's like
I watched some of the stuff, and if you don't realize that's what they're doing, you come away thinking, man, combat in this game is really slow. There's no combinations, like there's no actual like skill to it. It's just, it looks very boring, and it's like that's like they're just trying to present the skills, but you don't see the combos. And like you said, when they got him on there like weaving combos, is like, this is my favorite combo. And you're like, oh shit, okay, we got some PvPers that know a little bit about weaving, know about combining skills and abilities. Okay, this is gonna have to be one of those like I get in there and test sort of things.
Yeah, and I mean, it's in my name. I'm a pretty nice guy. But Ellis and I obviously have an Elder Scrolls Online outnumbered PvP background, New World outnumbered PvP, whatever. And there was a time that someone posted some ESO gameplay while I'm trying not
I
to
just
say,
shared I just shared that yesterday,
names.
actually.
You did? Oh, that's hilarious. So me and you just not letting this go, huh?
No,
Anyways,
absolutely not.
There was a time in a certain Discord where someone was talking AOC and how they're good and, you know, giving their opinion on stuff. And they're like, hey, I played ESO. I know what this is. They're talking crap about ESO and how they were good on it. I'm like, really? You got any gameplay?
It was for 2 days, man.
Bro,
this guy was talking shit for 2 days, and then he posted that.
And like they were at a hot stuff. Like, and not everyone's a YouTuber, right? I got a freaking resume I can pull off of my channel. I got a playlist. Like, okay, I'm pretty competent at games. Man, they posted a video. I sent it to Else, and me and Else, you guys, I will never show you guys those DMs because we were laughing our ass off. If Else is still sharing it, and mind you, this was months ago. If Else just shared it to somebody else 2 days ago, that guy's got to check his unlisted views and be like, why does this keep getting views? People must really like my gameplay because it was that crazy. And these are the people that talk in Discord and like, you know, like brag and talk PvP. And on that subject, let me pass this to you, DA. You lead a PvP focused guild, and I know we kind of alluded to this last time we talked, but is there some scenarios where you want to take a look at someone's PvP gameplay? If Steven, for example, sent you his clip from today's stream and he was like, hey bro, give me top rank in your guild, I can shot call, I can blah blah blah, you know, would you accept a Steven in your guild after reviewing his gameplay?
Absolutely not. We'd VOD review him and my man is just gonna have to gather items, or you know,
gather items.
We can help him escort his caravan, but
oh man, that's mean. Can't believe DA said that.
Look,
No,
I like Steven.
Oh, we're gonna short it.
I think one of the things is Steven has a struggles at trying to like show off, entertain while like playing the game,
fair.
and
Fair.
I've played games with Steven. You play Civ with him, he's a fucking monster. You play, you know, shooters with him. Like Steven is pretty decent at aiming. It's just for some reason, like, excuse me, when he's trying to stream and like talk about the game and play, you know, at a level that we're looking for, I think it's just a little too much. And excuse me, I'm just super thirsty. There's nothing wrong with There's nothing wrong with that. I think certain players, like how much, how do you want to put it? Like available like headspace for processing power in their head. I think that differs per person, and some people have enough processing power to play the game at a good level. Some of them have a processing power to play the game at a good level while commentate or while shot call or different things.
Yes.
And some of those things need different amounts of like, you know,
Focus.
processing power within your focusing within your head, and not everybody has it. So it doesn't mean that Steven's necessarily a bad gamer. It's just that I think in those streams he's focusing on so many different things, as well as just you know, nervous, right? He's nervous about what the audience reception to the feedback or to his, you know, his game is going to be. He's nervous about, are they going to trash it and say, oh, it looks dog shit, or his, you know, his dev do his devs think like, you know, hey, we're actually doing this in the right direction. So all of that kind of just plays into you know, you being focusing on the game and playing the game.
Yeah,
I
agree.
He needs to go over. He's got a lot of stuff he needs to show. Make sure they don't forget.
I would
what he can and can't say.
Yeah,
He has to keep that in his mind.
That's a good point too. Yeah, I would say that Steven in general probably is in a no-win situation because he's the captain of the show. Like he's showcasing everything that's happening. He's got to go along like at a good pace, make sure that they're segueing to different points, wanting to highlight everything they're talking about. And then at the same time, he's trying to play. And like DA was saying, it's just sometimes you do just get informational overload to where if you're focusing too much on gaming, all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I haven't talked in like a minute and we're supposed to be doing a showcase, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's almost like a you're damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. Like if he focused more on playing, then he wouldn't be talking. And people are like, dude, what's this showcase for? We don't want to watch you play. We want to hear you talk about the system. So
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you for the follows, everybody. Appreciate that. So what I would like to do now is let's go. We'll get your experience, DA. So I tell you what, let's just put Xillin on the spot with this. So Xillin, you're part of the show today. You're one of our guest hosts. What's a
Yeah.
question you would like to ask DA as far as his experience from
Ooh.
stream? What is questions that's on your mind about the current build of Ashes of Creation, his experience, his outlook? Go.
He's trying to suck you back in.
So yeah, right there you go. So DA, I released a video shortly after the cleric reveal, and the idea of the video was to show how, with the number of skills that you have available and limited skill points, that there were numerous different ways you could make a cleric. Because one of the complaints that people had was there's only one healing class, and my thought was, well, with the augment system and the skill points and stuff, you could build numerous different clerics just with the few skills that we already have. And if that, no one watched that video because nobody cares about a build guide for a game that doesn't exist. So that I unlisted that video. But my question is, was I right? Could you build your characters in many different ways with your skill points, or could you just max out every skill and all fighters are exactly the same?
So the way it is currently is, yes, there are different kind of paths for the mage, for the healer, tank, and I'm not 100% sure. I'll check with somebody real quick. But for mage, tank, and healer, there are definitely paths that you can kind of go down to really spec how you want to play. The tank, you guys haven't seen an overhaul of that, but their skill tree is very fleshed out. It is right now kind of where the skill tree and how you build into those different skills feel really good. The only thing that I would say, and this is kind of across the board, is all of the classes still just kind of lack the depth, right? And it's kind of hard to see. So take World of Warcraft or any game that you've played with a skill tree, right? You can see 10 paths down ahead, like, hey, if I continue down this path, I can get to here. If I continue down this path, I can get to here. Right now, Ashes has for healer, for example, you can focus mainly on heals, or you can focus on more of like a DPS cleric, like a battle cleric. But there isn't enough depth within the extra skills or the path going forward to kind of either say I want a hard focus one, or I want to meet in the middle, and that meeting in the middle is kind of what's missing. You can kind of hard focus one, you left or right, but if you were trying to make something like more of a homogenized or something more of a mixed build between the two, there's not really any suitable option. Right here is you're seeing right now is the mage tree. The mage skill tree definitely feels good for how you're trying to build out and select your skills.
Nice.
I'm a fighter main as well. Fighter.
Go on.
Fighter.
Please continue.
The skill tree on fighter wasn't as fleshed out as like the new tank or the mage or the healer, or a little bit from what we've seen from the ranger. Just because when you're playing fighter, it's still very much I have to go through the skill tree and I have to pick options that I don't want to get to the things that I want. And then the kind of pathing that you take to get things that you want, make you choose things that are suboptimal.
Sure.
Now, the reason why some of those things are suboptimal is they're lacking their completed animation. So what would normally be like an upward swing that dashes you or lunges you forward, it's kind of like a half dash swing that is kind of wonky to use in combat where it currently is. So it's not necessarily like it's just time. They just need time to cook more, and I think that where they're moving for their skills is in the right direction. One of the things that I would like to see them kind of pull the lever back on a little bit, which it seems in the past they have been kind of aware of this, but just with the new updated skills and things that I've seen, I would like them to pull the lever back a little bit on the giving too many things to one button. Mage very much has a heavy CC, heavy AoE, right? And I kind of like that, push and pull where it's like if I lean more towards AoE, I have to give up something. And that's essentially what I just don't want to see the class system turn into. But when it comes to those skills, yeah, that's essentially where the skills for those classes are. And to answer your question or summarize it up, yes, you can go down those different paths, but there's very little in between to kind of make that mixed build or pick and choose.
Can I ask you one quick question, just bouncing off that, DA? What level were you guys at for this?
Level 15.
Level 15.
Steven
Okay.
was like 30 plus.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in Alpha 2, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so some of the skill choices obviously are a lack of trees, but it's possible, like, as you level up later on, as they improve everything, you may be able to actually spread out and homogenize like different builds potentially, right? You would say, like, as you get more skill points, or no?
So right now, and this is where I think that they're just missing a little bit more. It's nothing their fault. It's just there's a little bit more missing when it comes to the skills, because currently, if I was level 30 and I had enough skill points, it would be a system to I just click everything across the board and I have every skill that you have available in game. And while from like a player standpoint, once you have those filled up on your bar, it doesn't feel bad to play the class. It actually feels rather good. The thing that you lack is that choice, right? Those hard choices. And I think a lot of people don't want to see I think a lot of people want to see a little bit more of a like I chose to go down the fire path a little bit more, and I pull back this versus I just did, I'm 50 right now and I can choose everything across the board. And
I hate that. I've done 2 videos recently on that, how Intrepid needs to make sure that we have sacrifice, opportunity costs, and decisions to make in a skill tree, not just do these vertical lines where, oh, I'm doing all the stuff on this side and oh, I'm doing the stuff on this side. That's really important to me. I want my build to have a sense of identity. I want to see build diversity. I want everyone to be decently similar. If you guys don't mind, I want to catch up with the voices of Verra here. Just and DA, these will be towards you. Just a couple of rapid fire responses, if you will. Sorry, I can't read everyone chat. But Catrello on Twitch says, I'd like to know when the 6 node war tests were. Get a timeline on that. So, like, how long have you guys been attempting to get these node wars to work and be as fleshed out as we currently see?
I would say we've been testing them over the course of the past, like maybe the month or two. For the tests that we can talk about, the 1 through 6, I would say it's over the past, about a month.
Okay.
And one of the things that I think people kind of tend to forget, or maybe you weren't a part of this, is like during Alpha 1, Intrepid's game would go from like bare bones to like, holy shit, how much did you guys just add from me going to sleep and y'all putting out an update? And they're very good at like, as things come online and get to a point that they're willing to present it and they're willing to show it off, it gets added to the game. And these updates come very quick. So some of the things that we were just seeing in the previous test ended up getting fleshed out as we got closer to the live stream recording. And I think Intrepid did a really good job on nailing down on some of the issues that were just apparent in some of those earlier tests that ended up being fixed throughout the latter tests. One of the big focuses that I think they're doing currently and right now is just throughout that testing is the client optimization, getting that FPS up and making sure that client optimization is good for different types of users. So they're obviously going to need to bring in more people with different types of computers and setups so that they can get better metrics on that. But when it comes to server stability, for the most part, we didn't really have any, huge server crashes. We didn't have any. There was a time yesterday where they told us to all gather up and, just fire off abilities massively as
I like
much as you
that.
can. And,
Nice.
I'm still sitting at 50, 60 FPS.
Okay.
So yeah, for an alpha test with the little to no like end user optimizations for the players, like yeah, it was pretty good.
So
All right, let me get two more questions in real quick, and I'm gonna combine these two. One's from Top Wombat. He's questioned, which class do you think made the most impact in PvP? Which I'm assuming that's going to be the mage. And then Mio says, how does rock paper scissors feel?
So rock paper. I guess I'll answer the easier one. Rock paper scissors. It feels okay. So I'll preface this question like this. When if I'm a fighter and I'm fighting a class that has more mobility than me, it really feels good to have the gap closers
Yeah.
and the chase potential on the fighter feels really good. Conversely, or excuse me, got the hiccups. As well as if you're playing a ranger, your ability to kind of keep that movement up, keep the distance between your enemies and things like that feels really good. I think the rock paper scissors is still just kind of in an early state to be a true rock paper scissors, but so far every class I would say either has a counter or excels in one way or another over another class.
okay.
So was the mage the strongest, or would that be the cleric? I'm assuming it's out of those two.
Mage, here's the thing. Mage will nuke the shit out of you. Mage will but it also depends on how you're playing that mage. One of the things that's really strong right now is that, like I said, that CC heavy CC mage, and I think a lot of people aren't really used to the energy systems that are in Ashes of Creation and how to do that. One of the things that we found that was really optimal was freezing somebody, using that to slow their movement. Once they're frozen, and you use the thunder moves to get the shattered debuff on them, and then from shattered you move into fire for your optimal damage. There's a lot of players who are in that setting. Fighting another class, mages are very strong. They can nuke you down, but if a mage is caught in battle without full mana, or the other player is playing royals, using pots, things like that to kind of avoid that and kind of run your mana down, mages very much become prey.
Sure.
Okay.
They're the predator that
And
easily can become prey.
really quick, Fuppo here, who also took part in tests, said the addition of DLSS and frame gen, etc., was big, so it helped a lot with performance.
Absolutely.
I'm hoping they're going to do FSR on that as well as DLSS for the AMD crowd.
I have a question here from John Prescott. He wanted your overall thoughts, DA, on the difference between Alpha 1 and Alpha 2. How does the game feel? How's performance? Just like things that you notice from, the last testing period to like where they're at today.
Obviously the world looks much better. We got a lot of the quality of life things that Unreal kind of brought in when it comes to the smoothness of mantling, for example, and climbing different structures. That's something that I've seen in other games, but they've had to kind of do that by hand because the engine that they weren't using didn't necessarily come with it, and it doesn't really feel as good as it does in Ashes of Creation. I would say that honestly, Ashes really, if you played Alpha 1, Ashes feels like a very much improved version of Alpha 1. It still kind of has that Alpha 1-ish feel when it comes to just like when you look at Ashes of Creation, right? And you're like, what game is this? Like, it definitely has a little bit of a feeling that you got in Alpha 1, but it is on a much more improved and much more a much better engine, a much more improved client. There's so many things that just feel a lot better.
Okay.
I think the biggest things are just animations, spell effects, um, traversal of the world, and then the world itself, and an environment itself.
Okay.
So you've been obviously PI for a long time. You've participated in a lot of testing, and I'm hoping you can answer this. As I watched this stream, I love that they traverse such a long distance. It reminded me of that first Caravan stream, not the Caravan PvP stream, but that first Caravan stream where they went from one node to the other and ran into ads on the way. This stream to me made, especially seeing all the players around and this large scale PvP, this stream to me really made me like immerse, made me feel like, okay, that's an actual world. So my question to you is, how much of the world can you say you've experienced? Like, is it pretty much what we see on stream, or when Steven wasn't looking at, they said, hey, everyone report to Winstead, you kind of just ventured off to the Sand Squall Desert, or you kind of peeked your head around Carfin, or were you guys kind of contained to this general area
So
that we see on stream?
the map was there was an invisible barrier. There is more than what we were able to explore, and you can see that through the map. You can see that through different icons and different areas. So it wasn't like hey, this is just a small cutout of the game and you're kind of wondering, does the rest really exist? You can see all of it, but you can't access all of it. However,
Sure.
there is a large amount to explore, and while most of the time after we got through the siege, or while we were waiting for the siege, they were like, hey, make sure you guys are here, make sure you guys at this meeting point, and we're gonna pop the siege and go fight. But there were nights where they had more of a time discussing the game and things going on, and I did obviously take that time to explore what I could.
Nice.
Sure.
Yeah, there's some cool things. Just floating down the river feels good. That current, whenever the current just takes control of you. If you've ever played Arcade in, I want to say it's Hirania, one of the Hirania zones or something like that. There's a bunch of lakes, and it pulls you downstream if you jump into it. So it was like nice being able to just kind of like go down the lake and
Cool.
see like the outskirts of Carfin and stuff like that.
Okay.
So two quick things, and I'm gonna ask this to actually Fuppo in chat as well, because I know Fuppo was on the tank. I plan on the tank being the first class I test, because if they could do tank right, especially if I could do damage as a tank, that's something I'm curious about. I want you guys, I saw a lot of good things about the fighter and the tank. I saw Lex, who does the wiki, said like basically it's 100% action combat when you're the tank or the fighter, which is something really cool to hear, especially if you're using the action camera mode. So I think that's swell. So I want you, I want Fuppo, I want you, I guess that one is just for Fuppo. I want you to describe how the tank feels. And I'm also curious about that wall ability, which looks so good in a narrow choke point.
Yes.
Looks so good. But what I want to ask to you, DA, and then I'll Else and Xillin, if you want to jump in here. My question is going to be, and it's one that someone actually just asked in chat. You guys were just given like templated characters, right? Like already at level 15. You didn't really mess with no character creator, correct?
So the character creator was there. There was limited options just because they didn't have all of the new updates to that, put it into that build. But yeah, the character creator was there. They gave us experience scrolls, which boosted us, so we didn't have to do any of the leveling process. And then we selected, the skills or builds that we wanted to take, and then we sent it.
Okay.
Nice. And Fuppo says the tank felt really good. You can do damage, or you can spec super defensive, and that he used the action camera the whole time.
Excellent.
Oh yeah, tank feels so good right now. Shout out to Fuppo, because Yeah, my man is in the trenches with me. What, like, just to kind of give you an example, when we were fighting one of those tests for the God Spike, one of the things that Intrepid showed us was the different types of shields that you can kind of augment into. One of the shield was a lot longer than what you've seen. One of them was a lot taller, and then they had like one that was translucent that didn't break line of sights for allies. So they're gonna have a lot of like customizations to how you can spec into these different shields, man. And it's so good because like what we would do is we would just push that line forward, drop walls in front of
Yeah.
in the middle of their Zerg, wall them off and line of sight them from heals and
Oh,
damage, and just
That's so
nuke them and
sick.
just keep pushing and push. And Fubo was there every time, rotating shields in the thick of it, man. I shout out to my man Fubo, man. I love it.
let's
Oh my
go.
God.
You just excited me, man.
That's
Because
awesome.
I'm sorry, I gotta say this. Doing the tank right is so important to me.
Yes.
I've been maining a lot of Albion online, and it's funny, Xillin, you're here. Xillin reacted to one of my tank theory crafted videos
Yes,
before. We were
yes.
just theorizing, how do you make the tank useful in a PvX game / a PvP scenario? And like hearing stuff like that, and like Albion, I feel like does it well. Just I don't want to go off on a tangent there, but man, hearing that wall ability and their concept and their understanding that's all I needed. Like that to me is just letting me know, like, okay, you guys got me hyped. I'm
You
a
pull
little,
me
I'm a
back
little
in.
hyped right now. I'm a relax, but thank you, Fuppo, and thank you, DA. Else,
Yeah, I need DA. I need you to tell that entire Fuppo story one more time, just a little slower this time. I was almost
You
there.
just
I was almost there.
if you want to whisper it this time, I mean,
Yeah, yes,
You get some
whisper it, yes.
ASMR. Yeah. Some tank
I'm gonna have to
ASMR.
hide my camera for this part, but not playing.
When did he hold block? When did he hold block? Okay.
Oh yeah,
Hell
just block
yeah,
it. Yeah. Did it cling off your shield? How did? Oh yeah.
No, the description of the wall and the different variations on the wall,
Mm-hmm.
that's really important to me. I made a video several months back where I was just pure speculation on different augments on the abilities that we all know exist, and just trying to like speculate on what type of augments there could be. And I got a lot of pushback from people that were saying, they can't really be that different. They can't have that many variations on skills and abilities. And to me, they have to. They really have to. And just you describing just a few different variations on walls, it's not massive differences, but those differences will matter a lot from tank to tank as they take the different options. A taller one so you can't shoot over it, or a translucent one so that your side can shoot through but their side can't. That's great. Like and then those are very different from one another. So I'm really happy to hear that.
Yeah, definitely. I've been waiting for them to get the tank right. I'm not a tank main, but it's always disappointing when you play an MMORPG that has all these different roles and then one of them's completely useless in PvP, and having a big ass wall like that will absolutely be useful. So yeah, that's great to hear. The question I have, we're going to pull away from this and just piss off Nice and Xillin at the same time here. The question I had for you, DA, is you talked about early on when you were rating the overall live stream, you said that you wish they went into some of the stuff before because about how to accomplish these things. And you said what they showed was actually one of the achievements that you had to do for a node war. I think you said it was 4, and tell me if I'm wrong at any point in time. So are we under the implication that there are 4 different objective-based PvP events for a node war? And I'm assuming one will happen like on Monday from 6 to 8. The second one would happen on Tuesday at the earliest from 6 to 8. So are we looking at like days long for node wars?
Yes. So the node wars will go over time. What I was just giving an example as far as the 4 phases. I'm not sure how many.
Okay.
They haven't told us how many phases there's going to be, but yeah, there are multiple phases over the course of days. I think it's supposed to last like maybe a week at most, and within each phase are different objectives. So like one you've seen fighting over the God Spike, another one might be like a caravan defense or something like that, between like a node mayoral caravan defense, or different objectives, and that objective will change every time.
Okay. Yeah, I was curious because I kept asking the live stream. I'm like, can we get a rough timetable for how long node wars are? Like, is it going to be a 2-day thing? Is it a 4-day, 7-day? And somebody else commented, and they're like, well, it depends on when you complete the objectives. It could go on for days. It's like, okay, well, can we have a rough estimation of how many days it could be? So that's good to know that. Yeah, it could potentially be like a week long. Node wars is a week long thing for your node. Cool.
Yeah. That's where
You
I've
know?
always theorized is a week, but yeah, we like Fuppo said, nothing publicly has been really said like what that
Sure.
max duration is. We were talking about it recently, else like, and I want to, I'd like to get some takes from you guys, especially you, Xillin. So Else and I were talking, and do you guys remember the big old freehold fiasco last year?
Mhm.
Where people, or I'm not even gonna go back to freeholds. Let's just go back to the caravan stream. Let's just go back to the caravan stream where everyone there was like drama. I use that roughly, where people
That I
were
started.
upset. Xillin started the drama and made people think, and like where people were like, "Hey, the attackers need risk. Why is this happening? Why don't they risk more?" And blah blah blah. And people started to realize this is something that we've known for a while, but seeing it visualized, people were like, "Oh, I don't like that. I didn't realize like, oh, so you telling me if I spend all this day doing all this work and transport my goods, someone can just come by and take that?" They didn't like that. So, and that's a portable PvP objective. That's not corruption PvP. You have no say in that. You are going to engage in a PvP interaction. Now, people didn't like that, and that's just why you're transporting your caravan, right? You guys might see where I'm going with this. How would you feel? You're just non-PvP Barry, you're minding your business. You just log on to roleplay in a tavern and go do some lumberjacking, and you find out your mayor declared a node war with another node, and now every time you're going out lumberjacking, there's guys PvPing you for free. I'll use the term PvPing you for free, taking your
No
materials
corruption.
and whatnot.
Yeah.
No corruption. No corruption. I think, and I would like to start it now with Else, Xillin, and DA. I would like to start the debate now. Do you feel like this is going to cause the, I guess, the attacker risk part 2, or that, I don't want to say the term care bears, but that people are going to be upset at this once this happens to them? Like, hey, my mayor got us in a node war, or war was declared against us, and now I'm getting attacked more often, and there's no downside to the attacker.
That's not right. There is downside to the attacker.
Yeah.
Because you have to buy that commission, and it takes a whole bunch of materials. And he even talked about how it would be hundreds of citizens combining together to gather up enough resources in order for you to buy the commission to execute a node war against another node. And that's one of the reasons why I made the big deal that I made about the attacker in on the caravan video that I did, is because in the caravan video, the attacker literally has no skin in the game whatsoever. There's no risk to it, and it's all reward. Whereas in the node wars and the node sieges, the attacker does have to put up something in order to get themselves into the war, and then of course if they win, then they get the spoils of the win. So I actually think that's just incorrect.
I guess what I wanted to go with that is more so not the risk but the feeling. Do you think people are going to be upset about more PvP being in the game, like more PvP that they probably wouldn't have signed up for
Play
elsewise?
another game.
Thank you. That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted the focus to be on. Also, before we continue forward, thank you so much. We were just rated by the Hidden Dagger Inn with a party of 33.
Thank you so much.
Welcome on in. Thank you guys so much. Welcome on in. Appreciate the support. We're still going over the Node Wars. We're here with Xillin, and we are here with DA of the Envious Guild. I got them both tagged on YouTube. If you guys want to make sure to give them a follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you guys are watching on my stream or L stream, be sure to follow. Really means a lot. Appreciate you guys. But yeah, I could just see that being another thing where people are like, this is more PvP, really. So,
well, let me jump back in here, because I do want to say one thing.
He's sitting up. He's going into gamer mode.
Yeah. So I was on not TGF, their actual show, but their like tavern talk thing, which is kind of an informal talk, And one of the things that they kept bringing up is something for the PvE crowd to do during a node war. There needs to be something that they can do where they're not, necessarily doing PvP if they don't want to do PvP, which obviously you're going to be a free kill, as you pointed out, just as a throughout the day or whatever. But in the node war itself, there should be objectives, PvE based objectives. And Steven actually talked a little bit about that today. Now, they didn't go into like, here's what we're thinking that you're going to be doing as a PvE player, but I think it's extremely important for them to figure out something to give the PvE player something to do, because what happens with PvP only games is they run off all the PvPers and then they get tired of PvPing only each other because the 9 people that are left PvPing each other, they get tired of killing each other over and over again, and then the game dies. So you need the PvEers, and you have to have a way to keep them there, but you also need to be able to kill them sometimes, but it shouldn't be all the time. Like, it's a really delicate balance that they're trying to get there. So I see what you're saying. Yes, they're going to be upset, but hopefully they'll give them enough to do so that it doesn't make them feel like all I do is get killed every day.
I am in complete agreement with Xillin there, and we saw that with the Bandit Blood being a side objective, which I really love that there is a PVS component. So I wonder how further they can go with that. I completely agree with what Xillin just said. You were saying, D? I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine. I was gonna say I don't think the one of the things that you see in some of those other PvP games is when you lose a war, when you lose something, it's everything, right? It's gone. You lose a town in New World, it's gone. It's poof. You lose, in a survival game, your base gets raided, or you lose, your character dies. You lose all your gear, all your materials, everything. Within Ashes, that node war. One of the things that I think that is missing from the conversation a lot is like these node wars are going to happen between different nodes with contention, but you have the choice to move to other nodes, right? You don't have to live in that metropolis. There are going to be other nodes that are smaller sizes, villages, towns, city. There's going to be city levels that maybe you don't live in the metropolis, but you live in the city. Maybe you're part of, because it's a little bit more stable. Maybe you have your guild is a medium-sized guild, and you guys have mayoralship of one of the town or village stage node just outside of the the city, and that village is going into war with another village, and like that's okay, because not only does that allow the dynamic of it's not all just one huge thing for you're either blue or red and the server split in half, or everybody's put on an either team. It allows that conflict to happen between other subgroups while not affecting those players who too much. If you're in that village node that does lose, and maybe you get dethroned, or like Steven talked about, like maybe you might lose the mayoralship for a couple of days, or you're this part of the territory, your other node siphons exp from it, things like that. Like those are, it's like playing Civ 5, right? Like those are things that you can manage. You can still go berry pick wherever you want. You don't have to worry about getting ganked or like too much with like affecting your caravan routes or things like that, because it doesn't just take away from you playing the game and enjoying it. Yes, it might be a little bit of rough to see your node get lose its siege, but you're not, your village isn't gonna be completely wiped off the map, and everything you've done is just completely irrelevant. You have no way to get a new home or nothing. You either stay there, rebuild, or pack up and go to a more safer village. Another thing is the crafting stations and the different things, the diversity at how much you can kind of build that node, which we've seen on that node stream, which I feel like is kind of overlooked by a lot of people.
Yes.
You're going to be building, this node's going to be better for weapons, this one's going to be better for, and not just weapons, right? We've seen, this one's going to be better for spears and or blunt type weapons. This node might make better slashing type weapons, things like that. And you can, with that node diversity, I think people are going to really want to plant their feet based on what they want their goals to be, or what goals they want to accomplish within the game, and that's going to lead to a lot less a lot less like, I just lost everything, I lost my home and I'm just packing it up.
Sure. Yeah, my so I talked to Nice about this yesterday, and briefly going back to Caravan, I know, Xillin, you said you kicked it all off and everything. I watched your video. I don't think you really said anything like there's nothing you said that was like, oh my God, like this guy's wrong. Like let's get him with pitchforks or anything. Like you provided your opinion, and you were saying, hey, like we need to look at this perspective for this game. You're looking at stuff. Hey, these are the systems. How can we make the systems better? And I think the vast majority of people that got involved in that discussion, they did that. They're like, hey, how can we make this system better? But the problem that we have with this stuff, and this is something that grinds my gears, and Nice already knows where I'm coming from on this, but what really grinds my gears is you have people that are wanting to change things within the system, and you have a very small vocal minority that wants to eliminate the system, and they're going to piggyback off whatever thing somebody else said and said, no, we have to get rid of this. Like they want to change the game. And so although everything you said, Xillin, was more than fine, it's really good, it was a good conversation starter, other people ran with it and they're like, yeah, caravans shouldn't be PvP. We should have PvE caravans. And it's like, come on, man. Like, do you like the game or not? Right. And so we were Dice and I were talking yesterday about this, and I was like, dude, we didn't know. And so DA kind of confirmed this. I was like, I think Node Wars is going to be at least 2 to 3 days. And it's probably going to be like 3 to 7 days. And so you're telling people that got mad about this stuff, that don't want PvP to begin with, their node is going to be hostile for 7 days, and they're going to get attacked for 7 days straight. I'm just assuming that some of these people are going to get a little annoyed with the system, even though they know that node wars exist. The fact that there's no corruption in those 7 days between these two nodes because they're at a node war, I just kind of expected, I expect there to be kind of a little bit of an annoyance with that, I guess, from those people.
You're 100% right, because everything DA said was correct earlier. DA, what you were saying about vote with your feet and all that stuff, that's all 100% correct. The problem is that's the mentality that players and people like us have. Like, I'm not a big PvPer. I'll do it and I enjoy it to some degree, but it's not a big deal to me. I don't like seek it out like some people do. But even I have that same perspective that you have of vote with your feet. The problem is that the players that we're talking about here, they don't, and they're going to be really upset that they lost their things. Like I've had so many conversations with people that I know a guy that like gets mad because he can't craft the best gear in the game. He's like, I spend hours and hours and hours becoming a crafter and max level crafter. Why can't I craft the highest level stuff? And I tried to explain to him that, what you did is a time only investment, and what the other people are doing is a skill investment as well. Like they have to have the skill level to beat the hardest bosses, or to win the PvP, the PvP engagements or whatever, to get the best gear. And that guy, I'm telling you right now, he is not going to be happy with the idea of basically, because you want to attack my node, I have to leave.
Yeah.
And so, that's the people that I'm kind of like, I don't think there's a way for Intrepid or any PvX game to really capture that player. I think that player's leaving no matter what. So it's almost like, I don't care if we can get them or not.
Yeah. I agree with that.
What do you guys foresee sparking a node war? Like Steven gave like a rough example at the beginning, like, hey, these guys have been talking crap or whatever before when he jumped off the stream. But what do you guys foresee being I mean, we're gonna have so much politics, so much like conflict and stuff. Like, what do you think will be petty enough for a node war? And will citizens of a node be all right with their mayor subjecting them to more PvP? Is it typically going to be looked at as an unpopular decision? I'm using this in real world terms, but making your country go to war.
I think one of the biggest drivers of those node wars are going to be one, zone of influence and conflict, the conflict between those. So, I'm leveling up this node, you're leveling up that node, but if, there's only so many cities that can level up within this area. So we have to stop them or slow their leveling down.
Sure.
Being able to rip EXP from another node, it's like civilization, right? You've got grievances against that node, and it could be anything from like caravans to just bandits to just guild rivalry, right? My guild is heavily invested in this node, we're heavily invested, and we just have some beef, so we're going to start a node war against you. The other thing, that land management is, man, the land management, I am so excited for everybody to kind of get in and play with. Being able to like deforest somebody's land, or trigger events within those things are going to, I think, really play a part in that world. Another thing that you guys said a little bit earlier that I wanted to speak on too, just for some clarification, when it comes to PvP in those node wars, and you're talking about being a more of a casual player within that node, and what happens when you get, why do you have I'm sorry, I can't think. Dealing with the opposition from the other node that you might not have been a part of. You have to remember that those corruption lists, those gear degradation list events only exist within that objective based event, and these objective based events are carved out in the open world and have their own zones for them. So if you're in within the zone of influence of Miralith node, but the war's going on down in the south, that doesn't mean that you're in the north going to just get digged down by the other people from the other nodes and they're not going to incur any corruption to it. You're still safe within the corruption system. It's just within those events. So if you're that type of player, you have the choice of, hey, I don't even know these guys. I'm just living in their node because it was the closest thing to, with a mining or a blacksmith station. You can choose not to participate in that war, and that's where that node loyalty comes into play. We want people who are going to come out there and show up and fight for that.
Is that just the event, DA, or is that 24/7? So as long as you're outside of the proximity of the node, like you can't get PvP'd on? Because they said there's the wiki says like you have the event that happens 6 to 8 prime time, but 24/7 you can also be attacked by the other node. So could that still happen if you're like
It's
down
a
the street?
flag status, right?
Yeah.
I would say if I know Lex is watching, if that's something that's more recent, then yeah, that's most likely the case. There's a couple of things in those systems that were talked about previously, or that that was the case when they were white papering it out a couple years ago. But just over time and throughout, more devs coming on and getting their hands and things in the project, I'm not so sure if that is still the case. But if that is something that's we've currently heard, then yeah, I would say that is the case. I was just under the assumption that it don't happen within those specific events.
Yeah, I think most of us are thinking like what Lex Max said. It's force purple for the nodes at war, like no matter where you're at. Before we move forward,
hold on, I want to answer your question, bro. I want to answer your question about what people are going to fight over. Because I didn't get to answer that.
Yeah.
I didn't get to either, by the way. Like he just heard DA and he's like, he's having a 1v1 podcast with DA right now.
No, I'm reading a response to what he's saying.
I'm just kidding, dude.
Let me get it in real quick. So Sonic and DA said, since you can siphon node XP, you could do a node war if someone's competing with you in the lockout system. That's what I was waiting to hear. DA said it, Sonic said it. I just think that's going to be the most popular reason. But yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I played Star Wars: The Old Republic for a long time. That was my main MMO for like 8 years or something. And I played on a little server, like on the smallest server that game happened to have. PvP basically never popped, like a little bit, but not really. Like it was pretty much just a few raid teams and a bunch of guilds that were doing I forget what it's called, conquest thing now, which is basically just a set of objectives to do every day. And there was so much drama on this little tiny server where there was never even any PvP going on. So the answer to your question, Nice, about what are people going to fight over? Anything.
Yeah.
It don't matter. There's going to be drama and they're going to be fighting over whatever. Everybody, I swear, MMO players are a bunch of petty betties, man. All of them.
Dude, so Nice and I come from ESO, and I want to tell this story because it's so fucking funny to me. But in Cyrodiil, it's open world PvP, and every week or every month, depending on the campaign you choose, the more people you kill, the more keeps you take, you generate alliance points, and whoever has the most alliance points, when your team captures the inner keep, you become emperor, and so you get a 50% stat boost to everything. You're just a big badass on the field. So everybody wants to be emperor. It's something to really try to get. You get the title, you get to run around, be a badass. And so I'm in a month-long campaign, and this one person has had emperor for like 3 weeks straight, just dominating it. And the person below them is slowly catching up. They're like, hey, can you leave the campaign? I want to join. I want to become emperor. And they're like, if you want to become emperor, you got to take it from me. And they're like, okay, fine. And so this person's on their last keep, and they're defending their last keep. You have to lose all the inner ones all at the same time in order to lose emperorship. And so they're on their last one. If they lose it, it's over. Emperor's inside defending for like 4 hours. Everybody's just raiding this thing. And this person decides to go, okay, if I got to take it from you, here's what I'm going to do. So they go down to like the bottom part of the map where there's nothing going on. The map of Cyrodiil, you can only have so many siege weapons available. And so what they did is they maxed out the siege weapons in the way bottom part of the map, so the people defending the keep couldn't use siege to defend the keep. And they're like, okay, if this is what you want to do, like, this is what we're gonna do. And it was so fucking petty. Like, so many people like left that alliance because they're like, I'm not working with this guild. I'm not working with them. I'm going to fight them. We're going to destroy them now. And it was the most, like you guys said, it was so petty. And so when I see MMORPG players, everybody wants to progress their character. Everybody wants to improve. They want to become the best. And some people will be straightforward, like, hey man, I want to have the best node. I'm going to have to kill you. I'm sorry. And other people are going to be like, I'm going to backstab the shit out of you. We're going to be friends. And then I'm going to jump on. And those sorts of things are just going to create nonstop bickering events. And it's going to be so good, man. It's going to be so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I've been speculating for a while now that there's going to be YouTube channels that exist only to cover the drama on servers.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. That's all they'll exist for.
There's somebody in our Discord that already said that they want to do that channel. They're like, yeah, when the game goes live, but I'm gonna have that channel. So
yeah, I'm gonna have the drama.
AOC news channel is gonna be they're gonna be so good, man.
Yep.
Especially because if you're not in touch with every server, knowing what's going on another server, like, oh, glad I avoided that one. That is, oh my,
dodge that bullet.
Yeah, like holy crap, y'all getting real over there. People meeting up IRL to fight about a node or mayorship, and
that's full flag PvP everywhere, man, even in real life. So
it's gonna be bad.
So DA, someone had asked a couple times here, healing. How impactful does healing feel?
I would say right now it's probably one of the most impactful classes as far as just keeping you alive throughout those large scale battles. Back to the 1v1 he said. I think that what's going to be the most impactful is the bard. But healing does feel very impactful. There are some skills on the healer that it's just like, why that just need a little balance, love, just because right now it's like, why would I ever take that? Mm-hmm. In any type of situation. But I mean, healer just feels really good. Like I said, the healer just is a class that has both the left and the right side in a really decent place moving forward, but it's that middle that we're missing, that when it comes to the depth of, the blend between the two. How far do I want to push towards damage, or how far do I want to push towards healing? There's really not a push. It's either you're black or white, left or right.
That actually was one of the questions that I wanted to ask, or leads into one of the questions that I wanted to ask you, DA. From what I was trying to watch and analyze I know this is like as nerdy, MMO nerdy as you could possibly get, but I was literally watching the health bars, the raid window, and watching how the health bars were moving just to kind of get a feel for what it looked like. And to me, it looked like dot or pressure attack doesn't work. There is no heavy dot or pressure based attacks. It's all bursty.
Sure.
And so I was wondering if I was reading that right, or that just happened to be the composition. Does there seem to be like really heavy dot pressure attacks, or is it all just burst?
No, there are some dots in there that are a little bit useful, but it's a little bit light on the dot side. Okay. A lot of it is just like straightforward damage, or like combo based. A lot of your damage comes from that weaving one kind of type of ability into another. You see that very much with the ranger and mage, a little less with the fighter. Just because the fighter just hasn't had the same type of love on its skill tree as the newest updated classes have.
Quick follow up, DA, because you snuck in a tidbit, and I'm not sure if it was. You said that cleric is currently the most impactful, but you think that bard will be more impactful. I'm not going to let it slide. Do you know that it will be more impactful, or are you just assuming that it's going to be more impactful?
Oh man, that mana, we need that bard. I cannot wait till we get that bard, because again, I think I mentioned this earlier when I was talking to somebody. When you're in these large scale fights, in a typical MMO, it's usually, you're fighting an uphill battle. Or I mean, I'm sorry, you're not fighting an uphill battle. You're fighting, and the momentum gets rolling. And as that momentum rolls, you might have to slow down or hold a little bit for mana. But you can kind of like keep fighting or hold that line while pushing forward, inching forward a little bit, and
Sure.
and you just have to be conscious of where that mana is. Currently, the way it is in Ashes, especially without a bard, the everything comes to a halt. If you're low on mana, and it's everybody that's low on mana, right? Some of these games
Yeah.
where usually it's like, oh, the healers are on mana. As a fighter or a warrior, I just got to stop because I want to make sure I get heals. But this doesn't really affect me. But in a game like Ashes, kind of based off a little bit more of Arcades, everybody relies on that mana for everything. So it's like everybody has to stop and sit, and it was in the live stream, the way that the respawns work, it was a lot more faster to just run in and die so you can start back with full mana than it was to sit there and wait for your mana to regen.
That's
So-
crazy.
So you played with a bard.
Oh no, I didn't. I know how dire that mana is, and that mana regen
Okay.
is going to be huge for
Has
all the
Intrepid
classes.
at any point confirmed that bards are gonna help with mana regen?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I just didn't hear that, I guess.
Interesting. I'd like to circle back to Xillin here. One question I want to ask you, Xillin, is throughout your course of following Ashes of Creation, your time following the project and throughout its various steps and stages, what draws you? And this is just me assuming that, this is the project you're looking forward to the most. I would imagine it is, but
Easily.
what specifically, if you had to name one thing, it don't have to be one, but if you had to choose one that mostly draws you, like, okay, this is the one for me, I want to cover this game, what about Ashes does that for you?
I mean, in some ways it is a lot of things. The node system obviously is very interesting and I think revolutionary in a lot of ways. I like what they're doing with the crafting and all that stuff. But I think the thing that keeps me the most engaged with the project, and the thing, like when I started my YouTube channel, I literally was trying to find a game that had not released yet that I could cover and build a name in that space before the game even released. That was the objective. And so I started looking around and I was looking at a lot of different projects. And I think the thing that made me latch on to Ashes, and then it moved from I just wanted to have a project to start a YouTube channel on to like real true passion for the project, is the open development and the way that
Sure.
they're making this game right out in the open air for everybody to see, warts and all. We see the good, we see the bad, and they don't ever shy away from it. They show it to us every single time. Just the little bit of the fighter, or no, was it the Midnight Magic? A little bit of the Midnight Magic video I saw was him attacking something, and then the square box showed up, and he's like, "Oh look, there's a square box. That's what happens in alpha."
Yeah.
And they showed it. He didn't go back and start the video over and re-record it or whatever. He just showed it to us. And I think that coupled with the fact that they actually listen to what the community is asking them to do and make changes and stuff, I think that's just endeared me to them as much as you possibly could. And so, yeah, that's it. The open development and they're the way they listen.
Awesome. Well said. I think that was the turning point for, well, a big deciding factor for all of us. Because if we were just sitting around waiting, it wouldn't be as it'd be an even tougher way. It's tough for us, and it's an open development. But yeah. Thank you so much, Chibi, for subscribing. Virus, YouTube, really appreciate you guys. Thank you for everyone that subscribed, all the follows. Really appreciate everyone that's here. Father Casual says you need drama. Yes, indeed. Welcome on in.
Yeah.
Morash, thank you.
So release date, Alpha 2 release date. I need speculation.
Oh shit!
Come on, DA. Come on, DA. We know you know stuff. Come on.
Last day in September. No, so here's one of the things that in the past, Intrepid delayed Alpha 1 for BFA. And what's interesting about quarter 3 is the first month of quarter, May, June. So
July.
in July, they have Final Fantasy's expansion coming out. Nothing happening in August, but in September, the WoW's new expansion is coming out, and it's going to have a little bit more of a PvP focus as well on that too. So
Hmm.
it's going to be very interesting because, like, with that in mind, it seems like August is kind of the month that they need to do it, but I don't know what that looks like with their schedule internally, and do they feel they'll be ready for that?
Mm.
So I don't know. It's really hard to say, but I know that like WoW having that during WoW or Final Fantasy X Pack is really going to hurt their numbers when it comes to the testing.
Sure.
That's interesting.
Mm.
That's interesting.
I
Nice and I were talking just a few minutes
Mhm.
before we went live with the stream. So pretty much every month since they announced that it's going to be in quarter 3, every live stream, they've kind of reiterated we're still on track for quarter 3. It's good, and they have been like confident. The way they've
Yeah.
said it has been like this is going to happen. This time, when Margaret said, yeah, it pretty much looks like it's going to be quarter 3. I mean, she didn't say it exactly like
Maybe.
that, but like there was like just the tiniest little bit of doubt in her voice. Maybe she just had some bad sushi this morning, and I don't know, but there was just like the tiniest little bit of doubt, and that's the first time that I have been like, oh, we might not be looking at quarter 3. But I have been saying now I think it's going to be September 58th, which will clearly still be in quarter 3 because it's September. So that's
Yep.
my guess.
Yeah, I'm September. There's no like July, August would blow my mind. It's not even on my radar. Maybe I've
Yeah.
subverted expectations too much. I don't know. But to me, September 33rd is like our best case scenario. Like, I don't know. I'm thinking September. We start Alpha 1. Alpha 1 spot testers get in there like early to mid September. And then for the rest of us, it's like late September, like September 20th plus. What
Yeah.
about you, Else?
I don't have any information. My perspective goes back to like when they announced it, and it's always been my belief that they firmly believe that quarter 3 they can ship it. And so I've been stuck on like late August at the earliest, early September, because like if you're pushing like I think if you're going to announce a date for quarter 3, that means that you're pretty confident it can be done quarter 2. You're definitely confident it'll be done quarter 3, and you're leaving room for error. So that then you have a 3-month period of, okay, we definitely think it'll be done quarter 2. If things pop up, we'll be ready quarter 3. We'll have a 3-month window. Everything will be good to go. I don't know if anything's popped up or anything like that, but I see late August, early September, I guess is where I'm looking at it. We'll see what happens.
I will say that the lifting of the verbal NDA is a really, really good sign.
Yeah.
That's what they did in Alpha 1. In the lead up to Alpha 1, once they fixed the ghost controller issue, for those who don't know, there was a big issue that was causing major lag after the server had been up for like an hour and a half, and it took a couple of months of testing, and for them to finally get it fixed. And once they did, they did a couple more tests, and then they released the verbal portion of the NDA, and they let people talk about their experiences. And then Alpha 1 was just a couple of months away. So if you go by that timeline and look at how all that went, the releasing of the verbal NDA today indicates that I would say it indicates that they're really confident that they're going to hit that quarter 3 time frame. Now, what month in quarter 3, I don't know. I joke about it being late.
Yeah.
I don't think it will be late, because Steven has made a big deal about he did not want to be a liar again.
Yes.
He didn't want to be a liar, and he didn't want the game to be a scam again. And if they don't hit that quarter 3 date, that's going to be the narrative. To some people, like, I won't care. I'll just continue my life until I can play Alpha 2. But that's going to be the narrative. So I don't think there's any chance that it goes past September 31. Personally, I think they'll release it in a flawed state if they have to. But
that's my thoughts too. Like, they just give us what you got there, because I think with all the, I don't want to say drama, but some public perception, I'm looking at you, Reddit, backslash whatever MMORPG with all that kind of public perception and naysayers and doubters. If they were to push back Q3, especially like to next year, could you imagine? Like they said,
Yeah.
oh, maybe February. I think a lot of people would be like, all right, what's going on here? But yeah,
Oh,
I'm with you. We talked about like when Margaret said it, it just reminded us like, hey, things can change. But
Yes, they
Yep.
can.
I'm with Xillin. Like when I think that's and else like I think that's like worst case scenario that they plan. Like they think in their studio they're like, oh, okay, August, yeah, we'll definitely be done by August. But September's like that fallback, and sort of
Yeah.
that's the
I
quarter.
guarantee you guys, they will give you a 2 week play test of that game in a bare bone state and say, all right, we're going to add some more updates and we're going to go down for about a week or two before they don't, or maybe a month before they just not give you that.
Before they
Yeah.
not hit that date. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
can see
I think
that.
you're 100% right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I think we're all confident in that. Like a delay, we rather get I mean, it's a test. So we rather get what we want and it's just not what we expected, or it's even less than what we expected, even knowing it's a test environment, than to just be like, yeah, sorry, this came up and this came up. I think the only thing that could truly prevent them from doing that and forcing that through, it's got to be like a networking issue. They won't
Mhm.
delay Alpha 2 because we thought the maze just isn't ready, this skill's glitching. No, it's got to be something like literally their servers will not allow it. They noticed during the Alpha 1 spot test that whenever there's more than 400 people on the server, the game is just not playable. It'll have to be something like that.
Agreed.
I don't
Sure.
think we just push it back just because like content sake. Let me say it like that. For content sake, it ain't getting pushed back.
Agreed.
Lex says, I'm willing to sacrifice the Tallnar race so they can meet Q3.
Me too. Me too. I'm
That
just
being
kidding.
said, though, like as much as you like, you kind of pull your collar and you're like, oh, it's getting a little close, bro. Intrepid is cooking. Those devs, Planet Door, Dread, like these are some of the ones that come into mind because I interact with them more. But like all of the shout out to all of the devs, man. They are
Yeah.
all doing a ton of work, and it has been honestly just so refreshing being able to interact and talk with those guys and kind of just give feedback throughout this process, and I cannot wait to see what they have in store for us going forward. So
Yes.
I'm excited. There's stuff I want to talk about that I can't. I'm excited for you guys to see.
Yes,
Yeah.
that makes me really excited. One thing I will point out, you're talking about all the devs and how incredible they are and all that stuff. And DA, you may be able to relate with this a little bit, being a guild leader. And I don't know if if you guys have done much guild leading. But I have. And one thing that I've started to notice is, I'm not going to say Steven taking a full-on step back, but like he's letting some of these developers come to the forefront a little bit in terms of the videos they do every month. Like this one in particular, I noticed that some of the other guys were really like leading and taking charge, and he's leaning on them. And as a guild leader, I know that's always the best feeling whenever you're like, I can step back just a little bit and let the lieutenants lead a little bit. So I think some of these developers are really starting to come to the fore, and that's really good, positive sign for the future of the company, I think.
Very well said. Yeah, he definitely has a lot of trust in his devs. Like you'll see devs pop into people's streams. That's a very good observation you just made. Yeah, I noticed that they took the lead and they know. I mean, obviously they know their stuff and what they're talking about, but it's nice seeing his confidence for them being displayed, and that's got to be something. Like I know this is just me projecting or just assuming from what I'm watching, but he looks like Intrepid looks like a fun place to work. Like
Yes,
I
it
never
does.
I never get that forced vibe like when I'm listening to Margaret or whatever.
Yeah.
Like she said something today on stream that she said something to in a conversation with us that participated in the last AMA, and she echoed it on stream today for you guys, where she used to work was nothing like Intrepid when it came to like pitching ideas and getting support for certain ideas. And I genuinely believe that that place is good to work at. I don't know what goes on, I don't, but everyone looks genuine and happy. So they're either like class A actors or they're happy to work for Steven.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been my perspective on it as well. Xillin mentioned it before about like the reason following this game and everything, and like their attention to detail, listening to the community, monthly feedback, monthly improvements, like just the open process. And you see all the time where like people comment on the forums or on a YouTube video, and like they'll post YouTube videos of content creators, or they'll come up forward. They're like, hey, we heard a lot of people talking about this. Here's these changes. And we've had a developer too in our live stream as well, and they're just like, yeah, we just love, like, we're playing different games, we're figuring stuff out, and we're just trying to make the game better. And it's just really, like you said, it's really refreshing. Like I've watched other live streams, and I don't want to comment too much, but it's almost like the comments and like the entire thing is really canned and scripted, and this is just
a hostage letter.
Yeah, and it's like and like you watch what Intrepid's doing, and it's just, it's comfortable. Like, yeah, we're showing this. We're proud of this. We're so proud of this. We just know the system in and out, and we're here to show it to you guys. And I think there's just a difference there.
Yep, agreed.
Well said. I want to go ahead and I guess we can close this out. Before we do, we're gonna do our closing remarks and everything, chat, but because we don't want to hold DA and Xillin hostage. This is very last second, especially for DA. So we appreciate you guys being here, but I say this at least once an episode. We literally could not do this without you guys, the voices of Verra. We thank you for everything. We thank you for every opportunity you have provided for Elsa and I, whether that's comment on a video, liking a video, being here in stream. I'm looking on my stream program right now, and we had 130 people in chat across both platforms, and that's just on my end. So we really, really appreciate you guys tuning in. This was a very fun discussion, very fun stream. I'm gonna have to rewatch this stream and see if DA leaked even more than I heard him leak. This has been really fun. You guys got me even more hype. I was hyped after watching the stream. I love this stream, but you guys got me even more hype because I like the tank stuff that I was seeing, but you guys just really getting the wheels turning in my head. Got me excited about that tank archetype.
Tank is
nice. Would you
say it again, DA? Say it.
That tank is so
yes,
goddamn good. The tank, the mage right now, and then the fighter. My fighter just needs a little bit more love with the survivability, but we'll get there.
Yeah,
we'll get there.
Nerf tank already. What's up with that, Steven? Did they nerf one of the walls already? We can't even make it through testing without getting nerfed.
You can't even make it to Alpha 2 without a nerf. It's crazy.
Had to. Without that tank nerf, the entire fight was just everybody spam shield over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
And
Nice doesn't see anything wrong with that.
I know. I was just gonna assume I'm being biased, but whatever.
It's like I'm waiting for the bad part.
So Nice. Really quick. Would you say that this was live stream of the year?
This was live stream of the year. It was live stream of the decade.
I think it was really good. Yeah, I agree. Okay.
Man. But yes, once again, thank you everyone. The bits, the follows, everyone that subscribed. We appreciate you guys. We really appreciate you guys. And so I want to just kind of go in order from, what is that? Is that camera right to left? Wait, this is right. Yeah, okay. So anyways, first off, I'd like to give I'm sorry, chat, buckle in. This is gonna be a long sentimental one. I'm gonna give everybody their flowers right now. So I'm gonna start off first. Shout out to Intrepid. Thank you for having such a great stream. Thank you for the continued support of the community, everything like that. I already thank the voices of Verra. I'd like to thank Else, my co-partner, for 48 episodes now, chat. 48 episodes. That is crazy.
We're closing in on a year, guys.
The game's not out. What the hell have we been talking about? 48 episodes. We're closing in on a huge milestone, and that is episode 49. Can you guys believe it? We're almost at the number that we've been looking forward to, episode 49, man. We got to do something special for that 49.
After my favorite team, man, lost in the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, to such an amazing team. What team was that again, Else?
I don't remember. I barely remember what happened. So
I think it was my favorite team that you guys lost to.
I think I blacked out. So
understandable. It was a pretty brutal beating. Oh yeah, 69 is the next milestone. The stadium
blacked out the last time the 49ers lost the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah. I barely remember that one too. So
Next shout out is to DA and the Envious Guild. Keep up the good work. You guys heard DA earlier. They're at 300 plus members. They had 10 PI, I think, just in this stream, or that participate in testing on the regular. If you guys are interested, especially in a hardcore PvP guild, a guild that's going to be very deep, probably running Alpha 2 hardcore, make sure you look at the Envious Guild. I got their YouTube tagged in the title as well as Xillin's. So if you guys want to reach out, there's also a dedicated episode to the Envious Guild that you can find in either the Ashes of Creation playlist or the Voices of Verra playlist on the channel.
Yep.
Thank you, DA, for showing up and giving us your honest feedback and taking the N out of your name. So now going forward, we will only call him DA. Everyone used to call him NDA, but now he's just DA.
Next time, anytime you guys want to talk NDA stuff, if you want to have another episode just where the community spitfires questions, I'm happy. I can nerd out about this all day.
I'll talk to you about Sunday, man, because there were so many questions that were brought up that we couldn't get to. I mean, obviously, I'm sure Nice had them. Maybe we'll find some and we'll see what happens. So
for sure.
We'll get the scoop. We'll get the scoops. And last but not least, I would like to give a big shout out to Fox Wildcard in chat. He's been on YouTube leaving so many comments during the stream, and I must say, no, I'm playing. But no, shout out to Fox too. But last shout out, we gotta give a shout out to Xillin. Awesome content creator. I remember when I first watched one of Xillin's videos, and then he had a great react video to one of my videos, and I've been following him ever since. And he's just a real genuine guy. He has a take, he's gonna stick to it, and he's not gonna just say. He reminds me of Else and I like to say that's one thing I like about our show. Oh, what? Nice likes his show. Didn't see the bias there. But one thing I do like is Else and I are never, I say this a lot, but we're never on a pedestal. We like hearing different takes. We want to get both sides of things. It's never I'm right, you're wrong kind of thing. It's like, hey, let's figure this out. What do you think about that? Oh, I see that perspective. Even if I disagree, I see that perspective. That makes sense. And that's one thing that's the vibe I always get from Xillin, no matter what. So
yes.
Make sure you guys subscribe to him, follow him on Twitch. He said he'll be getting back active. Not to put too much out there, but he's got a little bit more free time. You guys won that season, right? Close.
I coached 2 teams. We won the Super Bowl in both divisions. I had a 8 and 9-year-old team and a 10 and 11-year-old team.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's awesome, dude.
We've been trying to get me on this show for a while now, but the coaching thing just wasn't lining up. But we won Super Bowl in both divisions. It was fun.
Awesome.
Any closing remarks else?
No. We said thank you to everybody. We didn't go on for 3 hours yet, so I think we're doing pretty well.
It was hard. It was. Yeah. I wanted to hold them hostage. And I looked at the time. It said 1:35. I was like, all right. I told Xillin about an hour and a half. Let me be polite.
Yeah.
We'll definitely have a lot to discuss. As we close in on that milestone of episode 49.
Yep.
Maybe we'll do something special for 50. You guys stay tuned. I'm hoping so. We may have something planned that we can't talk about yet. But we're hoping for something very special. Also, is there anyone online in the AOC category? Oh, there's this no one else guy.
Oh, that's me.
I'm not aware of Wickislav. Has anybody aware?
I've never heard of them before.
Me either.
I've never heard of them.
So we'll just probably close out here. Appreciate you guys. I'll try to have a video out maybe Monday. I'm gonna take the weekend to digest, rewatch this stream, rewatch the AOC stream, kind of analyze things. I don't want to just put out a summary. I want to do something a little more meaningful for you guys. See if I can come up with a controversial take. Probably something Xillin was wrong and put boobs on the thumbnail, and then DA's in the background like, oh. And then everybody clicks it, and it's gonna be a good time.
There we go. I'm looking forward to it.
Dang.
All right, thank you guys so much. Once again, I've been Nice Gaming. Thank you, no one else. DA of Envious and Xillin. We could not do this without you, the Voices of Verra. Peace.
See you guys.
Later, gamers.